Hi, this is Connie Dunbar. I'm taping my YouTube lecture for Basic Nutrition for Health. We are now studying Chapter 3 on carbohydrates, so I'm going to be giving you a little bit of an overview of what carbohydrates are, where they're found, and how our body deals with them. Okay, to start off, the carbohydrates are divided into two categories, the simple and the complex. The simple carbohydrates are sugars. You'll see those on the label as words that end in the letters OSE or OS. Sucrose is table sugar, fructose for fruit sugar, maltose is the sugar found in beer from the malt, and so on. Carbohydrates, like proteins, contain 4 calories per gram. They are not considered calorically dense. For instance, fat has 9 calories per gram. When we look at the simple carbohydrates, those should provide less than 10% of your calories from refined simple sugars in a day. That doesn't include the simple sugars found in fruits. For example, apples and bananas are full of fruit sugar, but these also provide other essential nutrients, so we want to keep these in our diet. But simple sugars of the refined kind from soda, sweet desserts, and candy should be limited to 10% of our calories or less. If you are watching your weight, you probably want to keep it at 10% or less. Okay. So we have simple sugars, and then we have complex carbohydrates, are starch found in breads and rice and pasta. And if those contain fiber in whole grains, such as whole grain crackers or whole grain bread, then those are considered complex carbohydrates with fiber. It is recommended that 45 to 65% of our calories for the day come from carbohydrates. Now, why is this? Carbohydrates are the best energy sources for the body. Your body utilizes them very efficiently and turns those carbohydrates into blood sugar, which runs your system. Although carbohydrates are not essential because your body can make sugar products from proteins, they are required for the best utilization of your brain and nervous system. So although they are not essential, it is important to have a constant blood sugar supply, and that usually comes from carbohydrates. As I said, we have the simple carbohydrates, which we want to limit, especially the simple refined carbohydrates. And then we have the complex carbohydrates, which are starches and fiber. Most Americans get about 10 grams of fiber per day in their diet. The recommended is to have at least 15 grams of fiber per every 1,000 calories in your diet. So for most people, that's 25 to 35 grams of fiber. We're getting less than half of that. And think about where fiber comes from. It comes from the whole grains, as I mentioned, the whole grain wheat products. It also comes from beans. Beans are an underutilized fiber source and inexpensive in addition. And other whole grains such as oats. These are wonderful fiber sources. Now, why do we care about fiber? Fiber in the diet has been associated with decreased risks of many diseases. It's shown that those who use whole grains and high fiber diets have lower risks of heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, a number of other conditions that are common in the American diet. they are also quite filling, so they help you regulate the calories you take in. I want to have you think for a second about a breakfast that you might eat. 300 calories of oatmeal, and let's say you're going to put a little banana on top. 300 calories worth of oatmeal is a good size heaping serving of oatmeal. And think about how full you feel when you eat a breakfast like that. Now I want you to consider 300 calories of a pastry or a donut. 300 calories of a pastry is a small pastry. How do you feel when you finish that? You're probably still hungry. The fiber gives you a feeling of fullness and helps you to feel better about what you've eaten without eating too many calories. So it's great for calorie control. Another benefit of fiber is that it reduces a common problem in America, which is constipation. We need adequate fiber and adequate water in the diet for our body to eliminate wastes. So I will leave that there. Pause. The last thing I wanted to cover today is the digestion of carbohydrates. Simple sugars turn into blood sugar in your bloodstream very quickly. Complex carbohydrates and starches and foods with fiber are digested much more slowly in the small intestine and enter the bloodstream as blood sugar in a slow, controlled way. This is very important because when we have a rapid rise in blood sugar from eating simple sugars, you will find that there has to be a great insulin response to get the blood sugar back to normal. This is not healthy for the human body. That rapid insulin response will then get the blood sugar too low, and the body will be hungry again before you actually need to eat to get calories. I want to conclude today's lecture by saying that the chapter on carbohydrates is wonderfully complex. Take your time with it, read through, and please let me know by email if you have any questions. Thanks.